Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. There appears to be what amounts to a coup happening in the South American nation of Guyana. For those unaware, Guyana is a very interesting country. It's about the size of the island of Great Britain, more or less, but only home to 800,000 people. Considers itself more Caribbean because of its geographic isolation to the north of the Amazon rainforest and always being more tied in with the other formerly British possessions of the Caribbean in that area. And they're also fascinating in that it's pretty much an even split between Hindus, and they have a huge Indian community there, and black people, both of which were brought to the area after the British had first colonized the area. And it's a really fascinating nation with a very rich and unique culture. It's one of only three majority Hindu nations on Earth, the others being, of course, India and Nepal. Um, but Guyana seems to be having some issues lately. A few months back, there was an election, and foreign observers are not really happy with what they've seen. With the CARICOM chairman, Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, on Wednesday slammed the Guyana Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield for his latest recount report, in which he invalidated more than 115,000 votes. The current president, David Granger, last evening endorsed a controversial report by the chief election officer that invalidated the votes of 25% of Guyanese voters. I think we can all safely assume that a quarter of Guyanese voters did not somehow forget to vote correctly in an election. This isn't getting played because, ultimately, sadly, who cares about Guyana? It's just a little small nation in a corner of the world that doesn't really impact us. It's not like, oh, that's where all the gold is, that's where all the oil is. I believe they do have an oil producing economy, though, but again, it's a smaller nation, so it's a smaller share. And that bothers me, that we're not concerned by the flagrant abuse of power and the dismissal and invalidation of democracy because it's not important or relevant to our social media driven interests. These are people like us who are trying to believe in democracy and freedom and having their voices heard at the ballot box. And yet, thanks to corruption and a slow motion coup, people who thought that they were participating in democracy and having a voice now find themselves silenced and sidelined. And we're not talking about that, which is a total shame, because any time there is an assault against democracy, all of us in the West who claim to support freedom and democracy, all of us should be mad and infuriated when this happens. But we're not, because it's not making our news cycle and we don't seek out the information. And so the people of Guyana may soon have to deal with an authoritarian regime, possibly even a military coup. And unfortunately, no one's really going to care, because when we say we care about democracy, we don't really put our money where our mouth is. And ultimately, that's what's bothering me today.